Hi, welcome to Mind Your Own Business on Swindon 105.5. My name is Jerry Riley from the Federation of Small Businesses, and we have Nick Stevenson running the show today.
Hello Jerry, how you doing?
Very well. We're having to share a mic, which is why there was a silence. And this week is Gail Gibson with your guests. Would you like to tell us who your guest is, Gail?
Yes, hi Jerry, and hi Nick, and hello to Angelika.
That's it.
Got it right. There we go. Angelika Davey.
I practiced it with Angela Merkel, then you can get it.
No, we've got it right. Angelika is with us to talk all about the German language and translation work that she does.
And she can tell us how to solve the Brexit problem tonight.
Yes.
I wish I could.
No pressure. We've just been talking about all things to do with Brexit, and well, Angelika's not here this evening to get us through the Brexit campaigns or anything like that. So welcome to the show, and thanks for coming in from beautiful market town of Devizes.
Oh, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So if you can just first tell us all about what you do and what your business is involved in, and how you help others in business.
Okay, well, it's Angelika's German Tuition and Translation, which I've been doing now for 11 and a half years. It's actually mainly tuition. Most of the work I do is tuition, and I also do some translation, mainly for clients who I've worked with before. And, well, that's it really. It's a lot of tuition and a lot of online tuition as well, and some translation. Some book writing.
Okay, so you said to me before we came on air that you've been in England for a very long time. So what got you interested in starting up your business for yourself and offering these services to people?
Okay, yes, I have been here a long time. I've been here longer than many English people have. I studied in Germany to be a social teacher. And social teachers don't exist in England. So I couldn't do anything with my degree, apart from I could use it to go back to college and do a PGCE as a teacher. But because my social teacher degree was for working in nursery schools, they wouldn't let me do a PGCE in languages. They said I could do one in primary education. So I became an infant teacher. And as much as I liked working with infants, I actually still do. I have a group in Caen who I teach once a week. I didn't really like teaching science, art, math, PE, you name it.
All the curriculum subjects.
All the subjects I had to teach. The ones I liked most was actually the language related, so English or even doing some German and that. So gradually I seem to have moved up. I went from infants to doing supply in primaries or juniors, and I ended up working at a secondary school. But teaching teenagers who don't want to learn German wasn't really my ideal job either. So then 11 and a half years ago I decided to go self-employed and work with those people who want to learn German. And it doesn't mean that I now have clients or students of all ages. The youngest ones I've had so far were 3.
Wow.
And the oldest 80. So it's great fun sort of jumping from one lesson to another sometimes.
Okay, so you got started in that, you've moved through your business, and you've had 11 years now behind you. So tell me about how you got yourself started. How did you start to promote your business to other people?
With difficulties, because this was before Facebook
Right.
and Twitter. Well, the one thing I did do is I knew I was teaching full time, and I knew I wanted to go self-employed, so I saved a lot of money, as much as I could, so that I knew even without any client I had something in my pocket so I can pay my bills. And I also ended up doing some agency work, anything, whatever I could get hold of. And then I think I can't even remember now, it's so long ago. I think I actually went through the yellow pages and looked for companies who had something to do with German companies or anything. And then I wrote to them and I did a follow-up phone call. And most of the times I had the phone slammed down again. Don't need any German translation or German tuition or anything. Until I then finally got my first client, and I was absolutely over the moon. I had a client on a Thursday afternoon for an hour. And then gradually it got more, and it was word of mouth, and then it became word of mouse. Via Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and all the social media channels.
Okay.
And I got more and more students.
So on social media, you have your Twitter page.
Yeah.
And then you have a Facebook group, do you have, or a business page? How do you
Both.
use? So how does it work? Are your Facebook members, are they part of the Facebook group that they come and have discussions online? In English or German, or how does it work for you?
The Facebook page, that's more really like my advertising window. I have a lot of online students because I've started recently, or the last few years, I've started making online courses, which means people actually teach themselves with my video-based courses, but they still have contact with me if they needed to. And having hundreds of students that I don't really know, and they're all in different courses in that. So I then, last year, or is it 2 years ago already, I started a Facebook group as well. And most of the people in there are students. And there they can also ask questions and answer questions sometimes, which is nice.
And so the students you're working with, are they doing this for GCSE and in secondary education, or is it in university as well?
I sometimes have GCSE students. I've had a few over the last few years where students wanted to do German for GCSE, but then the option wasn't available at school.
Okay.
And so the parents paid for the private lessons, and I then worked together with the school and got them through their GCSE. But most of the students are adults who want to learn German, business reasons, private reasons, holidays, I don't know, lots of reasons really.
Okay. And those students that have come to you and maybe done some one-to-one tuition with you, or they've done some of your online courses, do they come back as follow-up students frequently, or do they come and do something and then go away?
Well, it's a mixture. I've had some students, face-to-face students, which who have been teaching now for 7-8 years, and they're still there because they're saying, well, we've been learning German for so long now, if we stop, then within a year they've probably forgotten everything. With online students, it's difficult to gauge. I don't know. Some people buy the courses and never look at them. It's like buying a teach yourself book. Yeah,
and never doing anything.
How
with
many
it.
teach yourself books have you bought because you always wanted to learn German or French or Spanish, and then you look at it twice? The first time when you buy it, and the second time when it goes to the charity shop.
That is so very true, isn't it?
I'm quite interested to know, do you ever do anything via Skype at all? You do like video tutoring?
Yes, I have students via Skype or Google Hangout or anything online like this, yes.
Excellent. I had a Russian tutor who lived in Old Town, and then all of a sudden she said to me one day, I'm moving to Malta. So I said, oh no, what am I going to do? She goes, that's all right, we'll do it by Skype. And it works absolutely fantastically, really, really well.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes, I'm really surprised. A couple of years ago, somebody approached me, and I said to him, I don't know, I've never done this before. I don't know if this works, but I'm surprised how well it does work. It's brilliant.
There's a lot of different conferencing tools out there, but Skype is one of them. I use Zoom as well as another platform, and that is just the same. You can speak to anybody and coach and work with people all over the world. It doesn't matter about time differences or anything. It's just that you're there, you're still present. They can still see and hear and gauge what you're doing and how you're feeling and all of those kinds of things, and see you across the miles. So
I've got to pinch your mic, Gail. I want to put Nick on the spot. Why did you learn Russian?
Well,
what are you using it for?
It's a bit of work in progress.
To the next piece of music after that.
It's a bit of a work in progress, to be fair, and I've sort of fallen off the language wagon a little bit. But I've always wanted to learn a language, and I've always had some sort of passion for Russia for some reason. Historically, I like their history and sort of like the sort of the 20th century history mainly. And I thought it looked a bit of a challenge, so I thought, well, you know, no disrespect, but, you know, why do French and German and Spanish? Let's do something really difficult and something where you can look at a piece of text and not have the foggiest. And Russian really does tick that box.
Well, you can have that with German.
That's right. So if Brexit doesn't work and the Russians move in, you'll be okay then, Nick.
Yeah.
So just before the break, we were talking about your online provision of your German tuition. So you mentioned that you do some online courses, and if you could tell us a bit about the online courses, do you create those yourself, or do you use a type of software or platform that's available already?
I use a platform called Udemy. They have hundreds and thousands of various courses. And so I make the videos, and I make the course, and I put it together, and then hopefully they accept it, which they usually do. And then they help marketing it as well, because although I think I'm pretty good at teaching German, I'm not that good at marketing. I'm not the salesperson, and so it's nice to have another platform to help me market the courses as well.
And so how many of them have you written to date? Do you have a beginners and then a progressive stages of the courses? Or
I've got one beginner's course, which is started off actually as an email challenge, a 30-day, literally very basic German for those people who may be going on holidays or going to a trade fair and they don't know any German, and if they hear the word grammar, they run a mile. So really basic stuff. And so I've got that, and then I started making grammar courses on particular topics, because often I find that a grammar book or even a grammar online course, they cram so much grammar in that it's still, I feel, not really enough. It's all right if you've got a tutor to go with it who says, right, well, today we're talking about the different genders, and you need to know this and that and the next bit and that. But when you're doing this online and you have a teach yourself book, or you're teaching yourself with whichever, whether it's an online course or an app or a book, and then you come across certain things and you think, I really don't understand this. So that they can then buy my courses, which is just for one topic, and they can then work their way through the videos. There's usually videos, there's some worksheets there as well. But unlike a book, they can then still message me and say, you know, video 3, what did you mean? Or do you think I've got the right answer now, or anything like this?
So you still have that interaction with your students?
Yes.
Just without the one-to-one. So how did you find the Udemy platform? Was it something that is easy to work with, as in templates, or how the software works for you building the programs?
You need to do you make your own videos, and mine are basically PowerPoints with speaking, so that people can see the sentences. And they don't see too much of me, which I think is better if they can actually concentrate on whatever it is they're learning. And so once I've done the video, I just upload them onto the platform. And any worksheets that come with it, or some quizzes, everything gets uploaded on there.
So then they can learn in their own time and work through the whole process. So how many of those courses do you have now on your site?
11, I think.
So people can access those via your website?
They can access them via my website, where I do a special deal as well, so that they wouldn't have to pay whatever Udemy thinks they may want to charge for it.
So they then, as if we just go back to their platform, just for other people who are listening tonight, if they're thinking of putting together training courses and training programs, they could use this same platform as well.
Udemy do their own training courses, which are free. So if anybody is thinking of putting a course on there, they can then enroll in their own training courses, which tell them everything they need to know before they do one of those courses.
And so when it comes to Udemy marketing for you, what do they do? So how do they market it for you? Where do they put your courses out?
I've seen them on Facebook. I think they do a lot of marketing on Facebook. They do a lot of email marketing. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know how many students they now have. It must be in the millions. It's a pretty huge American site. And so they do a lot of email marketing as well. And then they have certain campaigns on Black Friday, for example, which they really pull out all the stops and you can't get away with it. So this is everywhere.
Okay.
But I couldn't tell you exactly where they market because all I see is when I've made a sale.
Okay. And since you started with them, how effective have you seen that as a part of your business and making profit for yourself?
I'm getting there. It's getting more and more. I notice the more courses I have on there, the more students I get, and of course it's a bigger area now. I can now get students from everywhere in the world, even if the time difference would mean I couldn't do a lesson with them. Because they just watch the videos whenever they want to.
And so you see where your buyers are in the world as well? You see where they've bought from? Or do you just see the sales?
Roughly, I can see in what currency they pay, unless I talk to them and they tell me. But otherwise, I only see the currency they pay, and so it gives me a rough idea where they're from.
So if you have a look at that currency, where's the furthest from the UK that you've seen one of your online courses go to?
Oh, good question. Everywhere. I think it's going as far as Australia and America, South America.
Excellent.
Asia.
So there's people everywhere learning to speak German via yourself. That's fantastic.
Yes, it's a nice addition to the face-to-face teaching.
So when it comes to your face-to-face students then, where are they spread geographically? Are they on the other side of the world as well, or mostly in the UK?
Skype students I have at the moment, it's all in the UK. But that varies. I've had people somewhere else. I've had somebody from California. I've had somebody from Moscow. So it varies. At the moment, it's UK.
Okay. And what about from a business perspective then, teaching people in business to talk German? Like you said before, some people might just buy a course or sign on to get some business English if they're going to a trade show. But do you find that crossing over into your translation work, you get quite a bit of work through that as well?
Not so much at the moment. I've I spent more time making online courses at the moment than the translation, but I have translated websites and I've translated smaller things as well, especially sort of for, again, not necessarily businesses or small businesses, people who maybe have a house for rent in Austria, and they want all their the leaflets and all the information translated, things like this. Okay.
Things like Airbnb, those kinds of different places as well, maybe?
Yes, there may be Airbnb now, so at the time it wasn't, but yes.
Okay. And so when it comes to the growth of your business and thinking back over the 11 years that you've been in business now, what would you say are some of the... You mentioned before one of the challenges was first marketing yourself before the days of Facebook and Twitter. What other challenge do you feel you had right at the start that you have worked through and had success with since that time?
Well, I did get the students. And the next challenge really then was, well, you can only teach so many hours a day. And then roughly at the same time, I noticed that actually a lot of students nowadays want to learn on their own. Not many people want to commit themselves anymore. They don't want to do a 10-week course at college or a 30-week course at college. You know, I can't do every Wednesday evening. You know, I need to go out and I need to do other things, or I'm working shifts, or for whatever reason. And so that came about the same time when I noticed that the chance was there of putting online courses on there, which people like, because again they can do it in their own time. So I combine those two now. So I have quite a few students who actually teach themselves German, either with my courses or with anything else, but they book lessons with me when they're stuck.
Okay, so to get that extra special one-to-one with you.
Yeah, exactly. So they don't have to commit themselves. They're not booking several lessons in one go. They just book the one lesson when they need it. And that seems to work really well. It works well with my timetable, and it works well for them.
Okay, so we're just talking about time here, so we'll give you a break now and our next piece of music. So back to my guest, Angelika Davey, tonight. And I just wanted to ask you next, how do people get in touch with you and how can they connect with you?
They can find my website, angelikasgerman.co.uk, and where actually they can find all the details, how to get in contact with me. They can read my blog if they want to get an idea about learning German. If they save some money on a mortgage, they can then spend that money and buy some of my online courses or get lessons with me. They can also find me on Facebook and Twitter and I think everywhere online.
So they can just search your name?
Search my name.
That's your name is the easiest way for them to find you?
That would be easy as well, yeah.
Good, okay. So now that people know how to get in touch with you, tell us what's on, you've got planned for 2018. What are you working on at the moment or developing in your business?
I'm carrying on, obviously, with my tuition, and I'm making more grammar courses for Udemy. Working on one at the moment about word order, which people absolutely love, German word order. For something new, I've started working on a course for parents who want to teach their children, young children, a bit of German. We've just started yesterday with a online lesson with a little 5-year-old girl who wants to be a YouTube star.
Oh.
And I wanted to teach her German, so I thought, well, let's combine those two things. And but there will be other things. There will be worksheets and colouring in sheets and all sorts of things for the parents and the children.
Okay.
So that's going away from the grammar courses a bit. It should be fun. And I also decided I've started, you're the first to find out about this now, I started writing a book for teenagers. Rather than a book about learning German, I'm writing a book about a girl who's moving to Germany, but she doesn't speak any German.
Okay.
Because she's learned French at school.
Right.
So the trials and tribulations of how she's going to cope with it.
Excellent.
Whether I'll get that one out in 2018 or not, that's another question.
And will that be in English and in German?
Well, it will be English with German mixed in, yes.
Okay, so you'll have the language through.
Oh, yes.
The language theme will be in there as well.
Yes, because she's learning German, otherwise she can't survive.
I'm not entirely sure why we still teach French in school over German, because in Germany, I mean, the Germans do a lot of business. They're a manufacturing, a prosperous nation that want to trade with the world and do trade with the world, including the UK. The French, not so much. And I'm sort of struggling as to why we teach all of our kids French up to a certain level, then only the real bright ones can then go on to do German. And it seems the wrong way around to me.
I can't answer that question. German actually is becoming, or is available less and less. Lots of schools have got rid of German and replaced it with Spanish. I think one of the reasons is apparently, and I can't vouch, I don't know whether it's true or not, but apparently Spanish is easier up to GCSE. And if it's easier up to GCSE, it means the children get better grades, which puts the league tables up.
So it's a fixed situation in some ways.
The French is still the historic one.
Yeah.
And I don't know either. I mean, some schools now start with Chinese But how well that is going, I don't know.
There would appear to be a logic to that, but I don't know. The whole French thing's I'm left scratching my head, and have been for years. I don't really see why it's the language of choice.
I think German is nicer anyway. But I'm allowed to say that.
When it comes to learning the language and thinking about the students you've had over the years, how do they find it getting into learning German from the start? Do they find it quite an easy language, or I don't know, on the difficulty level as compared to something like French or learning Spanish? Where do they come in?
I think that depends on the person. Some people, especially those who love grammar, sort of dive straight in, and they want to know the grammar straight away, and they can work out the rules, and they just click straight away. And others struggle. It is with any language, really. Some people, I mean, those who do 2 languages at school or have the option of doing French and German, you will always have some students who absolutely love German and can't get on with French, and you have students who absolutely love French and really can't get on with German.
And from your perspective, the English language, is it closer a lot to the German language, or do you think there's a crossover between French and German in the English language today?
No, I think English is closer, although there are certain aspects from any language. I attended a course as a student for French, and every so often there were things like the formal you and the informal you that was easier for me to pick up because we have it in German than it is for English people. So this is the one thing, is once you've learned one language, if you then have a go at the second language, you'll pick up certain things easier because you've already got 2 languages to look at.
Okay. Very interesting. Lots of food for thought, that's for sure.
Okay, yeah, we're rapidly approaching the end of the programme, but we'll break now for some more music and then come back for a final chat.
So thank you, Angelika, for coming in this evening and sharing with us all about your German tuition and the translation work you do. And I'd like to just say, have fun writing your book that you've shared with us. We're the first people to find out about it today. And also your new plans and the things that you're developing and building in your business and helping more and more people to learn German and be able to speak German. So thank you very much for coming along.
Oh, thank you very much for having me here. It's been a pleasure.
Good. And just to remind everybody how they can get in touch with you and how can they find you on social media, if you can just share your website and your Twitter tag, etc.
Right, the website is angelikasgerman.co.uk, but if they Google Angelikas German or Angelika German, they'll probably find it. My Twitter handle is German Tutor with an underscore, German_tutor. If they Google me on Facebook, is that the right phrase?
Probably.
They find Angelikas German there as well.
Okay. And once your book is ready to publish, we can get it published in all these different languages and get it going global. That would be fantastic for you.
Yeah, can we get one done first?
Excellent.
So you've been listening to Mind Your Own Business on Swindon 105.5.